I would like to begin our Learn RPG Maker MV series for you guys today. Today's episode will be focusing on the UI, and we're going to learn how to make our first events. But before we get to there, let's learn how to download our brand new software. So we will need to go to rpgmakerweb.com, and we're going to take a look at that right now. Take a look at rpgmakerweb.com. That is the website for our RPG Maker MV and other RPG makers. You want to go to the create your own game section. We're going to go to MV and we're going to go to features. Here you can purchase the game, the software, for about $80 US if you like, or you can download the trial for you guys. This is for Mac and Windows. If you're planning to do the series though, this Learn RPG Maker series though, it will take a while for me to include all the videos. So I would suggest to buy the whole thing right away. If you're buying it on Steam, you are required to have a Steam account. So I want to give you guys a run through of what's included, not just what's included, what you can expect from the software. So there is sample data just to give you guys a head start, like maps, enemies and all that. You can actually download additional enemies from the community, and I'll show you how to do that later. We can also do JavaScript. Now I'm not going to teach you this stuff today, because I have to go through my own game to do so too. So we will not be touching on JavaScript, but if you are proficient in JavaScript, that is for you as well. We also have multi-platform distribution and MacBook support. You can do this on Windows, Mac, Android, iOS, and HTML5. I will teach you how to export to Windows and Mac. Android and iOS will require you to do some other stuff that I'm not going to teach you today. You also have the ability to have mouse and touch input. So if you play on the phone, then you touch. Playing on the computer, you are clicking, like point and click. And we have a database system as well. I'll show you this in just a bit. Battle system, you can make it side view or front view. Side view is preferred. 3 map layers as well. So make sure you guys check this out. And you can have a higher screen resolution. And the plugin manager as well. We will look at this as well in our series. And the event searcher, very useful tool. Trust me, there's gonna be a lot of events and you want to make sure you name them. So that's how you guys get to the website and download for free in terms of the trial, 30-day trial. Buy now for $80. Now if you are Steam or if you are Humble Bundle, they actually give you discount. And I got my discount when they got it for like $50 when they started. I actually got a discount for I bought Humble Bundle for $20. I got like the whole RPG Maker MV, and I got the whole RPG Maker library of software developers. So if you guys like that, good. Now let's head back to our software in question, RPG Maker MV. And we're gonna make a new game. All you have to do is file, new project, name the folder and name the project. I already did that, so we're good here. It will take a little bit while to load, but here's what you're gonna be receiving when you make your new game. You're gonna receive nothing. I'm kidding. Here is what you are looking forward to today. I'm going to discuss what all these symbols do. Then we'll talk about the icon, the tile maker, the tile stuff. And then we're gonna talk about like the first events. So let's have a look at what we have going on the top here. This is your user interface, this whole thing. So this is for a new game, that is to open, that is to save. This is to cut, copy and paste, undo, and that is where the mapping happens. You map by clicking a tile, let's say like this one, and you're going to make a map already. So this is your map in terms of the developer side. We're not going to go into maps as in make a map for the game, not yet. That's for way later in the series. Way later in RPG Maker. So this is what I'm doing. I am mapping something like a 4 square here, and that is how you map stuff. This is the event maker, and we're gonna play with that is this in just a moment. This is the pen, square, ellipse, full, and shadow pen. So if we do this rectangle, then we're gonna rectangle select and fill in this part here with a rectangle. Now on purpose though, I'm going to undo that and I'm going to make sure it's like this. We have the ellipse and it's going to be like this. See how it's different from here. We have the full, which will do this. And we have the shadow pen, which is shadow like this. This is useful for like trees, like the sun. You know, you have sun, you have trees. You have big tree right here. Like this tree area here. We can make a shadow around here, like a shade area. You get shaded here. And when the sun hits the tree, it will make a reflection. You can do so just by doing the shadow pen, okay? We always have magnify, zoom out, and 1-to-1. 1-to-1 only works when you either shrink it or zoom in. This is the database, which we will talk about in just a moment. There is a plugin manager. We will touch on this in just a few minutes. There is the sound test, music, sound effects, all that good stuff. This is the event searcher, resource manager, character creator, which I will talk about again in a moment, and we have the play set, the play test, which we can play test, but we're not going to be play test yet. So let's take a look at several things I want to touch on, and I want to touch on the database. This one right here. So the database allows us to make our items, characters, armors, and all that good stuff. We're going to be focusing more on this series. We're going to be focusing more on the database as well as the node tags and all this good stuff. So this is going to become very familiar with you when we start talking about different parts of the games. So we have classes, skills, items, weapons, armors, enemies, troops, states, animations, tile sets, common events, system, types, and terms. Those are the few tabs that we have going for us. Alright? And you're going to be familiar with each one as we go on in the series. In our little series here. Next, I want to talk about the plugin manager. This is where you're going to place your JavaScript plugins. I'm going to actually cut this because these are default. But when we talk about plugins in particular, we're talking about plugins from other developers. I am not counting. While there are 2 plugins already, these are sampled by default. So I'm going to actually remove them. I'm going to remove this one. I will show you how a plugin works. So let's talk about Community Basic. So each plugin has their own name, description, author, help file, and parameters. When we talk about the plugins later on in depth, we're going to be able to, I'm going to teach you how to use each plugin that we're going to be using. And we're going to try to manipulate the game. And this will manipulate the game to our liking. And we're going to look at that later. But for the moment, we're going to cut that off today, because we will not need any plugins in terms of our lesson today. So that's the plugin manager. The sound test allows us to just test sound. You can play and stop at any time. We also have the event searcher. That is a very useful tool to where we can search for an event or a switch or a event name or variable, and we're going to find it on the position of the map. This is going to be very useful in the event that we lose our progress. Finally, we have the next one we have is the resource manager. Anything in the resources. We also have a segment for DLC, so if you download any additional product, the DLC is here for you. By the way, when you download the software, you actually get bonus DLC right off the bat. I'll show you how to use this in just a few. I'll show you how to use this later on. Finally, we have the character generator. We can make character based on different parts. You can also make young kid characters. I actually have a few in my game. I'm not going to showcase them today. First of all, number one, I'm still developing that game. Number two, it might give away something I'm working on. But you can make kid character. Keep in mind several things are empty, so we will need to buy DLC for that, but we were not going to do that today. And finally, the playtest button. So, now that I taught you the UI in terms of the system here, this here is our map tile set. This is what you call a tile set. We have different sections, A, B, C, and R. R is actually for region. Now, in terms of game development, regions actually have a way to like manipulate stuff. For example, when we put like random encounters, like in Pokemon, let's say for example, like this area. Oops, excuse me. We're gonna map region 1. Let's just say this area is going to have Pokemon. This area is going to have Pokemon, and this area is going to have Pokemon 2, Pokemon as well, but particular Pokemon to region 2. And finally, this region will have another set of Pokemon, along with Pokemon from region 1. So you have a combination of region. So let's say on this side we have Pokemon, secondary Pokemon from the third region, and mixed with Pokemon from the first region. So depending on what we have for you, that's what we can use for game development. Also, in RPG Maker MV, if you would like to have a certain event happen in only certain regions, you can actually do that, and we're going to do that later. So let me clear all the regions though, because we're going to start making our first event. We're going to start off very easy, but first, let's talk about the event system. If we double click anywhere on the map here, we're going to trigger the event system, event editor. As you can see, each event has a name, a note, new event page, copy event page, clear event page. We also have some conditions which I'm going to touch on later on. But you can make a condition where either 1 has to be true, 2 has to be true, and 3 has to be true, or first and second, or first only, or no conditions apply. You can also have the condition where there has to be a certain item, or some certain actor, or a certain character. You can also have an image, and we're gonna do that in just a moment. You can also have them move either fixed, or you can have a random, approach, or custom. We have the speed of the character and the frequency. We also have options for you in terms of the like walking, stepping, all that good stuff. And the trigger is going to be either action button, player touch, event touch, auto run, or parallel. We're going to be talking about all those later. Let's start with our very first event now, and we're going to be calling it, we're going to be titling this event Hello World. Now we can give it a note if we want to, however, certain plugins from developers actually use that note tag area. And we will not be using that for the series, but just note that if you do define a plugin that uses that, please follow the correct directions. Don't follow my directions when it comes to this particular note area. Because what happens is, my directions is for those of you who want to learn how to make a game. Their directions are for like, you want to use a plugin. So keep in mind that if you're going to use your plugin, follow their directions, but use my teachings. Alright. Let's make our first event, and we're going to have an image here. No conditions, we're going to have an image, and we're going to say let's have a person here, this guy. And we're going to have him say something. We're going to go to double click on this area, the content, empty space diamond. And let's take a look at the event commands we have in store for us. We have different categories on 3 different pages. We have a message, game progression, flow control, party, actor, and on page 2 we have movement, character, picture, timing, screen and audio and video, and finally on number 3, scene control, system settings, map, battle, advanced. Alright. So for our first one, we're gonna be touching on some of these down the line. But let's take a look at our first event, and that is a show text. And we're gonna have them say hello world. And that's it. Press OK, you're done. But first, let's actually have an image, and let me tell you how images work. So images, in terms of coding, different depending on the language. Like JavaScript, different images have a different ID, but different programming languages have a different number for images. So let's take a look at actor. I believe this is going to be number 3. So actor 3 area is going to have 8 images. But be very careful of one other thing here. In JavaScript, the first image is number 0. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In other languages though, this same first picture is 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So remember, we're talking about JavaScript, so this is 0. And we're going to be using this image because it matches our actor here. So we're going to say hello world, and welcome to RPG Maker MV tutorial by the Super Yuki or something. Okay, press OK and you're done. That's the first event of the game. Apply, press OK. To play test, As you can see, he's also on the map. To play test, we're going to play this. Press this button to play test. We're gonna save changes to the game, of course. But if we go to our guy here, as you can see, he does say what we wanted to say. And that's basically your first event. And we can do the same thing for soul choices, but I'm gonna show you that later, next time, okay? So that is how you start RBG Maker MV. So in our next episode, we're gonna be talking about loops, and we're gonna be talking about a few other things, including the following. So in our next one, we're going to be talking about loops, but we're also be starting our first look into the database, and we're going to start learning how to make our first character or item in our next one, okay? So we're going to take a look at that, okay? We're always going to be talking about some other stuff down the line, so make sure you stay tuned for that. That's all for now, guys, and we'll see you guys on our next episode.